Hey friends, welcome to this week's episode of Not Your Mama's Podcast. The title of this episode is Changing Your Mindset When It Comes to Weight Loss. And in this episode, we are speaking with Courtney Gray, who is a weight loss coach for women who want to see weight lost permanently for them. Now, Courtney, I had you on my show in season 1, and you were mainly focused on women and business, and you've kind of made the switch over to weight loss coaching. So tell me why you did the switch, and if you can give the audience a little bit about your background as well.
Yes. Thank you for having me again. It's so fun to be here again. Well, so I've been an entrepreneur, and we talked about on the first podcast, I've been an entrepreneur for about 20 years, and I love making money. I love empowering women to do big things. In entrepreneurship is a big, scary thing for a lot of women. So I love that. But when I got certified as a life coach, I got certified in all the things. And one of the things I got certified in is weight loss coaching, and also like over drinking. Because a lot of times the people, when they're looking to lose weight, a lot of times people are like, I actually would like to drink less as well. Not to stop drinking, but they also think I would like to drink less. And a lot of the techniques and mindset go hand in hand with both. So I started finding, as I was coaching more and more women on entrepreneurship, which I love and I still do, I really started falling in love with weight loss. And really not just, so many of us have lost weight by doing a diet, but really permanent weight loss. And in order to lose weight permanently, there's so much about mindset that is missing with most diets. So I just really started, I'd be working with some clients on their business, and I would say, okay, so like, what's stopping you from showing up in your business? What's stopping you from showing up on Instagram or LinkedIn or whatever? And so often they would say to me, you know what, if I lost 20 pounds, this would be so much easier. And I'd be like, well, let's do that. Let's do that while we're doing it. And so I really just started loving helping people lose weight permanently.
Oh yeah, that's right. Because they want to feel confident online. Yeah, okay. I see that. That does go hand in hand because people get insecure. Because I know sometimes, not that I have like the weight loss issue, but like sometimes I feel insecure showing up online myself too, being vulnerable and out there. And some people are just afraid to just have their picture taken to be out there. So, it really makes sense to go hand in hand. Why not only upgrade your business, but upgrade your personal life as well, you know?
Mhm.
And so, why would someone want to hire a weight loss coach?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think for so many people, I feel like people come to me in two different groups. There's the women that have like dieted over and over and over again for a lot of their adult lives. They just one diet after the other. They diet, they lose weight, they gain it back. They're frustrated. Then they recommit and they diet again. They tell themselves they're going to keep it off, and then it comes back, all that. And then there's the women that sometimes they have a hard time even committing to a diet. They're just kind of in this state of misery where their body's never where they want them to be, where they want it to be. Their body is never good enough. And it's always like, if I could lose even 5 or 10 pounds or 15 pounds, I would be so much happier. And it's this river of misery. And they've tried a lot of the things. So a personal weight loss coach, like a one-on-one personal coach, is exactly that. It's personal. And we get to dive into their life, their triggers, their circumstances, their thoughts, all the things that they struggle with. And for so many of us, we have certain times a day that are harder than others. We have certain circumstances in our lives. Maybe we have, like for some women, they a lot of times will give a lot of power over to the way their husband eats. They'll say, oh my God, I would eat so much better, but my husband brings crappy food into the house. Or they'll say, I would eat so much better, but I'm a single mom and I don't have time to like meal prep for myself. There's all these very specific, intricate moments in their life that if they worked one-on-one with a coach, which what they do with me, then we really dive in and we solve those things for them.
Yeah. No, it's great because everyone's life is so different and structured so differently, and everyone has different needs and goals. So it is really important to have something personalized for you. And so when women are reaching out to you, what are some of the common frustrations or struggles with weight that they face?
Yeah, well, this is a struggle that I saw even before weight, even with business. But one of the biggest things is I want to feel motivated. How do I motivate myself? And one thing I find is I tell women, that first of all, you actually can start to trust yourself and start to follow through, and you can do that without feeling the beautiful fire of motivation, right? A lot of people are sitting around waiting to feel motivated, and you don't have to feel motivated, but also we come up with strategies on how you can motivate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I find really interesting for a lot of women is they're like, when they want to be motivated, they will go consume. And when I say consume, they will listen to podcasts that make them feel good. They will go, read a book, or they will go watch a show on something. And really all that is very like consuming. It's not taking action. So
Yeah.
how can we get them to actually take action? Even if in the moment they're like, I don't really want to do this. How can they take action? And that's a skill they can be taught and they can practice. And then another thing, I think a lot of women come to me is with time, but they have a lot of limiting beliefs around their time. They really think like, this is not my fault. It's time. I don't have time to cook myself a healthy meal, or I don't have time to make myself different than what I'm making my kids. I don't have time to go to the gym. And a lot of those are not facts. When we really dive into it, they realize that if they really put themselves first, they could make the time, but that's going to take some effort. And so we really dive into the time aspect of their life.
Yeah, it is amazing once you start like laying things out. It's like, oh, well, maybe instead of sitting, on social media scrolling for, who knows how long, because you can get lost in time with that. Like, instead of doing that, like maybe that's the time I could make myself some food.
Totally.
It's just like about priority and how you want to prioritize yourself. And sometimes it really does take just like writing it down to be like, oh yeah, there actually is time, instead of being stuck in that limited belief, because life is a mental game. And I think we talked about this in the first episode, just about like business and like what you want for your business goals. Like, if you don't believe in yourself, you're definitely not going to get to those dreams and goals that you wish for. If you don't believe that you can lose weight, if you don't believe you have the time, if you don't believe in yourself, like, then you're definitely going to be a failure on yourself and prove yourself right. But if you believe in it and you believe in yourself and know that there is a way to get your goals and your priorities in line, you're going to succeed.
Yeah, I agree. And I will tell you too, and one of the things I teach my clients is belief is not something that we just click over into. You
Mm-hmm.
can intentionally decide, okay, right now, this is what I'm believing. Like, I don't believe I have enough time, but I really can believe that I can make time and I can find ways to think about this differently. But it's not like all of a sudden it's this magical, oh, I never thought about that. I'm just going to believe something different. It a lot of times takes practice in order to believe something new. You have to remind yourself every day. You have to, a lot of times I suggest writing it down. There's so many studies out there that talk about them, like mind-body connection, when you actually journal or write something down every day. So it really is doing that mindset work of working to believe something new.
Yeah. And you really do have to stay consistent, because I know for me in my own life, I'll be doing good. I'll be like feeling high, I'm feeling strong, powerful, self-love, all that. And then all of a sudden, like, I kind of like fall off the bandwagon with my practices. And then I'm like kind of down below, where I'm not believing in myself. I'm feeling a little bit down. I'm not holding my power as strongly. And then I have to like work it back up. So it is something that has to be worked on all the time and is super consistent, because you're right. It's not going to just be like, I believe and here we go, and it's sticking with me. It's like, no, you got to believe, and your mind's going to play tricks on you. And then you got to like play tricks on your mind that you still believe in yourself. I mean, it's literally like a vicious cycle, never ending. Like, like
Yeah. And that's so
keep that mental strength strong.
for sure. And that's so funny that you say that, because I have a podcast as well. And today the podcast is all about how to get back on track, because that's life, right? Stuff happens in life that we have no control over. And even if we're like doing really well, like let's say you're trying to get to the gym and you're really like, and all of a sudden you're like, oh my God, this feels so good. And I don't know about you, Cristina, but like if I'm getting to the gym consistently, usually I'm also eating. They kind of go well, they
Yeah.
go hand in hand for me. And so it's like things will be going really great. And then something happens with one of your kids, or something happens with work or whatever. And you have a few days where you're feeling in a funk, or maybe you're hormonal, or something happens. And instead of taking a month where you spiral out and you get back off track, how can you learn the skill of getting back on track quickly? And
Yeah.
that is one of the skills I teach, especially when I work with clients and after they've lost the weight. That's a really great thing to master in order to maintain your weight.
Mm-hmm. So when you're working with your clients, what is one thing that they are surprised about when you're teaching them?
Yeah, that's great. So I think, again, back to the motivation, I teach them that you don't have to be motivated to
Mm-hmm.
get, everything, to reach your goals and to show up for yourself in the moment. But I think also it's that I teach that there really is almost like two of us in each of our own heads. So you have the you that, like, I think of myself tomorrow, like, oh, I'm 100% definitely going to work out. This is how I'm going to eat. It's just who I am. And, I have all these grand plans for tomorrow. Well, tomorrow's going to come, and right around 9 o'clock or whenever I'm supposed to be working out, I'm 100% not going to want to. And I'm 100% going to think of like other things I should do. Oh, I should go live on Instagram. Oh, I should, I'm sore from yesterday's workout. Maybe my body needs a day. I'm going to come out with all of these. It's almost like there's a second Courtney in my head that is going to tell me that like working out in that moment is really not what we should do. That is normal and it's not going away. I've been at my ideal weight for many years now, and I still have that. I still have that resistance in the moment that I don't want to do what my, prefrontal cortex wants to do. The person who really wants me, the area of my brain that really wants me to succeed, in the moment, my primitive brain will take over, and I have to still show up for myself, even though I don't want to in the moment.
Yeah, that's what in anything you want in your life, you have to be that person even when you don't want to be that person. Like you don't really want to sit down and have to do what you have to do for your work things or your business and your side hustle, but like you still got to sit down and do it. And that really is the hardest thing to do, is like to force yourself to do something that you kind of feel like you don't want to do at the moment, but you do feel really accomplished like once you actually sit down and do it, and then you're like, oh, okay, and then I could do that other thing I really wanted to do instead of that.
Yeah, and that's what you're doing there. Is you've obviously, Christina, built a habit of like, you gather evidence for the fact that you can have that voice in your head telling you don't want to do it. You're going to show up and do it, and then you're going to be happy afterwards. So it's like you're finding evidence that it's totally normal, that in the moment your brain is telling you want to do something else.
Yeah.
So that always surprises people.
Yeah, totally. So do you have any suggestions for the listeners that might be struggling with their weight right now?
Yeah, I do. I'll tell you one thing this is a very simple game changer for a lot of people. A lot of people come to me, and when we start diving into what their triggers are, why they're eating, emotionally eating, all those things, is most people don't think that they're emotional eater. Most people, I used to think this too. When I would hear like emotional eater, I would think of someone that was like crying, like sobbing on the couch and eating like a whole like gallon of ice cream. That was the woman I saw. And so I thought, well, I'm definitely not her, because that was the image in my head. But that's really not it. If you are stressed out with your kids and you feel like all of a sudden it's dinner time, and you're like, while you're making dinner, you're like, I'm going to have a glass of wine because these kids, I'm on my last nerve with these kids. There's nothing wrong with the wine, nothing wrong having it, but they're part of the reason why you're telling yourself you're doing it is because you're stressed and you want that relief.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
Yeah.
really determining if you're not eating or drinking in the moment the way you want to, really uncovering why in that moment you're doing what ultimately you don't want to do. And usually it's because you're trying to solve for a feeling. You're trying to get that dopamine, and you're trying to feel better in the moment. And when you figure out what it is, like for me, this is one's a little bit more unique, but one of the reasons I used to overeat is I was bored.
Yeah.
And so, yeah. And so for a lot of people, there's stress or anxiety, but for me, it was boredom. And when I really realized that, oh my God, right around 7 o'clock, I go back into the kitchen and it's because I'm bored. When I realized that, then I was able to coach myself and have awareness and make other decisions. The other little thing I can tell your listeners is a lot of people come to me and they are never hungry. But we as human beings are meant to be hungry. We're meant to listen to our bodies and all of a sudden have like a growling of hunger, and to then go and feed our bodies. But a lot of people that are overeating, they're never allowing for hunger. They're eating all the time. So one thing you can quickly do is, if you make this one little change, it's amazing that you can start losing weight, but by saying, you know what, I'm going to try to eat healthy, but above everything, I'm just going to eat only when I'm hungry. That is a game changer for a lot of people.
Yeah, it is. I mean, especially in America, we overeat and there get over portion sizes and compared to like the other countries and stuff. And I think that like, I think Americans are a little bit more like prone to depression than people in other countries and stuff like that. And like we have access to like just junk. So it's so easy for us to like eat unhealthy snacks and things like that, which makes such a huge difference. And only eat when you're hungry. I mean, we have access to everything. Like, no, people aren't hungry because they're just always shoving food in their face. We got the fast foods, we have the snacks, we have just so many options. I mean, other countries have a lot of options too with food, but like, it's so true. I feel like here, like we overindulge in the United States.
Yeah.
Yeah, like big cars, big houses, like the American dream, like big steaks, big meals, big, 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 big. And it's just a little too much for us. So we're like fatter than everyone else. We overindulge. We have more waste and garbage than everyone else. Like we're just literally like useless bottom eaters of the world right now.
Yeah. And you
So
know
I
what
mean,
else?
like, I think it's also like a cultural thing,
I think so too. You know what else is I can give a little like tip for your listeners too. What else is cultural is there is this idea, especially here in the United States, that like everything we put in our mouth has to be a party. And so like I'll tell my clients, I'll say, you know what? I love eating and I love food and I love it. I mean, think about it. As a society, we celebrate with food. We nurture ourselves with food. When we're happy, we eat. When we're unhappy, we eat. All the reasons, there's a reason to have a party in our mouth. And if you really want to lose weight, yes, sometimes think, ooh, what sounds good? But maybe one meal a day, what if you just ate just to fuel your body? Like it had nothing to do with it tasting good.
Yeah.
That's a game changer too, because if it really had nothing to do with if it tasted good, you would just think, what does my body need? It probably needs protein and some vegetables.
Exactly. Like,
And
what do I
that's
need to
not
just like
fun.
fuel myself to be alive?
Yeah, and can that be okay that it's not fun? Because I've talked to some of my clients at first, like, but that's not fun. I'm like, oh, but can it be fun that you're going to lose 20 pounds? Let's let that be fun. And for like this meal, for this 5 minutes, let's just nourish our body.
Yeah. Again, it's all about your mental, your perspective, how you think about things, how you look at things, and how strong is your mental brain. I mean, life is a mental game through and through. The one thing I've learned about being on this podcast and having this, it's all about your mental state. If you don't have a strong mental state, then I suggest that you work on it, because that's how you're going to get to where you want to go in your life. And it's okay to make mistakes, and you're going to fall, and you're going to, have those moments of doubt and feeling sorry and worry. That's the whole point. Even the people that you think are like the strongest mentally have their moments. So it's just really important to have the tools and the keys and people like you in place to help guide them and give them the support that they need, and also accountability, for the things that you guys plan to talk about, their goals and their actions. Because if you're not going to show up for yourself, like who's going to show up for you?
Yeah. Yeah. And a lot of times, especially as moms, we show up for everybody else, and we put ourselves last, and then we tell ourselves, no, we want to put everyone else first. But really, I just don't see anything wrong with doing both. Put yourself first and put them first. It's not just one or the other.
Yeah, exactly. But you kind of do need to put yourself first so that you can be better for everyone else. Like
I
not in like
agree.
not in like a malicious, selfish way, but like if mommy's not happy, then like no one's really going to be happy. If daddy's not happy, like no one's really going to be happy, and the kids are going to like feed off the vibes, and then they're going to like, everyone has their childhood traumas and stuff like that, but like they're going to just feed off the vibes of like the unhappiness around them, and then it's going to like rub off on them.
Yeah. Oh, I agree. And it's funny that my clients, towards the end of us working together, not only have they lost weight, but they feel more empowered, they feel more free and more in control around food, and they're just happier. And I'll tell you, like every area of their life gets better.
Yeah.
because their relationship with themselves has gotten better, their relationship with everyone else has gotten better. It really is, I think, as much as I used to love, helping people make money, when you start with yourself, it ripples out to every other area of your life.
100%. 100%. So I know that I asked you these 4 questions in season 1 with our episode, but I'm curious to know what your answers are now, because I think it's been like almost a year. And the link is down below if you would like to listen on how to make your first 100K in your business. That episode is linked down below if you want to hear that one. But my first question to you is, who and what inspires you, Courtney?
Oh, I think I said this before because it comes up for me every time. It's my kids. But
Yes.
I'll tell you different. I'll answer it differently now that I'm doing the weight loss coaching. Is one of my boys is a wrestler. He's in high school, and he's a junior in high school, and he goes to state. He's very high level wrestler, and he is just amazing. And I think he inspires me just because he is constantly on this trek of never ending improvement and physically. And even though he has all that 17-year-old testosterone that you and I don't have all that,
Yeah.
but he is constantly pushing himself. He is constantly going to his own next level. So he really, really inspires me to constantly go to my own next level. And it's so funny. I had a client who was talking to me about her workouts. She wanted to take her workouts like to the next level. And we were talking about it. And I was telling her, I'm like, well, you and I, women that are in midlife, we need to start working out a little bit harder like these younger kids are. We're not going to be 17. We're certainly not boys, but can we take our workouts to the next level? Can we let them inspire us? And can we lift heavier and go longer and push ourselves even harder? I think yes.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Yeah, we can. We can do anything. We're women. So my second question to you is, what is something you wished you knew when you were younger?
Oh, I wish I would have known that in order to get my body to where I really wanted it to be, I really had to accept myself and get to love. At first, it's hard sometimes when someone's really unhappy with where they are and they have a lot of negative self-talk. You can't just go from that to love, but you can really try to get to acceptance. But a lot of times I think that people try to go from not liking where they're at, and they try to lose weight and get their body to a better place. But you really have to accept where you are and talk to yourself nicely in order to get to where you want to go, in order to get the results you want. Because what's going to happen is if you beat yourself up into a thin body, you're going to be there and you're still going to be beating yourself up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I wish I would have known that a lot younger, because I spent a lot of years never good enough, even if it was just many years of 5 pounds. Like if I could lose 5 pounds, I will be so much better. And it was just berating myself constantly. And that's, I think, why I couldn't lose those 5 pounds. Once I started doing the mindset work, I very quickly got to my ideal weight.
Yeah. Yep. It's all about your mindset.
Mm-hmm.
So my third question is, what's the essential part of your daily routine? Has that changed? Is it the same?
It is the same, girl, but I'll go over it again. My journaling in the morning, my moment, like my 20 minutes of like my daily work that I do, where I really start with what I'm grateful for in the moment. And then I write down all the things. Like, again, this goes back to practicing beliefs. I practice all the things I want to believe are possible for myself. And those are things that I want for myself, like financial goals, but also like, beliefs about myself, my self-image. What do I want to believe about the woman I am becoming? And I write those down, and there's something every morning. There's something about writing it down every morning that really helps you get there. It helps you manifest it. It helps you remind yourself what you're doing.
Yeah. And then my fourth question is the best advice you've ever received.
Oh, that's a good one. I totally don't remember what I said on that one. I can give you, I'll give you, since I know that this is for the moms, your podcast is for the moms. I'll give you like something that has nothing to do with weight loss, because I think it's so good. So we have 3 boys. My boys are 20. They just moved out. And then we have a 17-year-old. He's the one that's a wrestler. And when the best piece of advice I ever received in terms of parenting was my mom told me some great advice, starting when they were probably around like 4 or 5. she said, every night, or not every night, but every few nights a week, go into each one of them individually and just like hug on them and say to them, like, you can tell me anything. You can tell me anything and I'm not going to be mad at you. I want you to know I'm here for you. And even what I started doing things a little different than my mom did. I went farther and I said, sometimes when I was young, I was scared to tell my mom or dad something. And I want you to know you don't have to be scared. Nothing you can say to me will be bad. Like, you can tell me anything. And after you do tell me, you are going to feel better. And I'm telling you, Cristina, the stuff my kids have told me from that age on to now is unbelievable. We talk, I know my kids don't tell me everything, but my friends are always shocked at the stuff my three boys tell me.
Yeah.
And I think it was really that, starting out as a very young age in that intimate pre-bedtime routine moment, telling them, you can tell me anything. I used to be scared of telling my mom something, but I'm telling you, I'm here for you. And it's been a game changer for my relationship with my three kids.
No, I think that's really sound great advice, because you want them to be able to feel like they can come and confide in you and not be scared, because sometimes they hold on and carry shit that's, heavy on them, and they want to talk about it but are afraid, or whatever the circumstances are, don't want to get in trouble or grounded just because they're exploring, who they are and what they like, what they don't like, and peer pressures and influences. I mean, it's crazy there.
It's amazing. And you know what I say too is like, if you want your kids to talk to you about sex when they're in junior high and before they're having sex, if you want them to come to you and say, this is what I'm hearing at school, what is happening, you have to start it early. You can't wait till they're in junior high to start having those conversations. It starts when they're 5 years old, not the sex conversation, but the communication.
Yeah. Like making them feel like comfortable and like, and then also I think what's really key is like, if you do say those things and they do come to you and there is something that is, could be like upsets you, you want to freak out, like just take a breath and like try to talk rationally and not scare them after they really did do something, and something that was really scary for them, like trying a substance for the first time or whatever it is, like you're going to have to like really take a breath.
Oh yeah. And I've had to do that. That's great advice for sure.
Yeah. Like be careful what you ask for.
And then you can go have a glass of wine after that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, Courtney, do you have any other words of advice before we say goodbye today?
Yeah. My word of advice is reach out to me. If you feel like you are interested in what it would be like to work with a weight loss coach, someone who is going to help you lose weight permanently, then reach out. You can find me on Instagram or my podcast. But it really is all about mindset. Mindset is what is missing, like in the world of diets, in the, buy this and you'll lose weight quick within the next 6 weeks. The mindset is what's missing with most programs. So I think finding someone to help you with mindset is gonna not only help you lose weight, but it'll help you maintain it for the rest of your life.
Perfect. Well, Courtney, thank you so much for coming on and dropping the knowledge today on the podcast. And all of her links are down below in the show notes. Don't be shy. Go say hi. And thank you everyone for listening for this week's episode of Not Your Mama's Podcast. And I hope to see you all in the next one. Thanks, guys.